Straight ahead on 12 News, a weather roadblock.
Full-scale baseball activities is pretty much impossible.
How spring hasn't sprung for high school sports teams. Then a Champlin Park student's ambitious goal to bring long-lasting change. But first, rules that aren't always followed.
People are not getting it tight.
And what police are going to do about it. 12 News starts right now.
It is a startling statistic. 3 out of every 4 car seats are not used properly.
And it's a problem police are trying to fix. As Cassie Bonstrom reports, a statewide enforcement campaign is underway to educate parents and prevent injury.
Okay.
With 2 young daughters, Andrea Westfall spends a lot of time around car seats. She's tried her best to be on top of the safety rules.
When we had our first, we installed our car seat before she was born and then had it checked out.
But statistics show many parents aren't so careful, which is why police are out to educate. Through March 30th, the Department of Public Safety is leading a statewide seatbelt and car seat enforcement campaign. Not following the law can lead to a fine.
This is the test that they need to give kids.
Julie Philbrook, a trauma prevention specialist with HCMC, showed us some of the most common errors that parents make.
People are not getting it tight. So they'll put it in, they'll buckle it in, and you can see all the wiggle room. You don't want it moved more than an inch side to side or an inch away from the back.
Experts also recommend keeping kids backwards at least until children are 2 years old and possibly longer, depending on the seat.
They're over 20% safer rear facing. So you want to keep the new criteria is rear facing as long as the seat allows.
For older children, booster seats help the seatbelt fit properly.
We want the shoulder harness to come over the shoulder.
But they're often used incorrectly or not at all.
If their knees don't bend in the car, they're going to slouch down until they are comfortable. And then now the belt will ride up over their belly, over their neck.
Julie often uses this prop when she teaches safety clinics. Minnesota law states that children should be in booster seats until the age of 8. However, parents and kids are surprised to learn that they really recommend that children be in booster seats until they're at least 4 foot 9 inches tall.
If a cop sees a violation, they may issue a citation. But Julie says it's not meant to be a punishment.
That's unfortunately how a lot of us learn is the hard way. And, it does get people's attention. And that's what we're trying to do.
In Minneapolis, I'm Cassie Bonstrom, 12 News.
The fine for a car seat violation can range from $25 to $100, but you can get it waived if you prove that you have corrected the problem.
The investigation continues into the cause of an apartment fire Wednesday in Plymouth. The fire started on a 3rd-floor balcony of the At the Lake apartments. Smoke was coming from the roof when firefighters arrived shortly before 4 p.m. Firefighters had to use chainsaws to cut into the roof to get at the fire. They also battled strong winds, and several fire departments were called in to assist. Everybody inside made it out safely.
I pretty much gathered whatever stuff I could, and I got out of the building, and I just met up with a whole bunch of people right over by the entrance, and they said it's all coming from the south wing, and you could see flames just coming up over the building.
2 apartment units did sustain fire and water damage.
Crystal police are looking for 2 men who forced their way into a home and robbed the people inside. It happened shortly before 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon at a home in the 3400 block of Noble Avenue. One of the men had a gun. Nobody inside the home was hurt. Police say the robbery was not random. They say there's no threat to the general public.
If you're confused by last week's state tax law changes and you're wondering if it will affect your 2013 state tax return, we have some updated information that might help. If you haven't filed your tax return yet, the Minnesota Department of Revenue says wait until April 3rd. If you have already filed your return and you think that you might qualify for those middle-class tax cuts, you should receive notification from the state after April 15th.
We'll try to contact everyone that was affected and let them know that we're processing or we need more information from them or maybe an amended return.
You could qualify for a middle-class tax cut if you're in one of these groups: working parents earning less than $47,000, homeowners paying mortgage insurance, those who pay tuition for higher education, those with student loans, and school teachers. For a complete list, you can visit the State Department of Revenue website. Just click on the tax law changes link.
It looks to be a long night ahead for negotiators in the Anoka-Hennepin teacher contract talks. A union spokesperson says a meeting tonight is expected to go into the wee hours of the morning. In a rare step, school board members were expected to take part in the talks as both sides hope to avoid a teacher's strike. Anoka-Hennepin teachers have been working without a new contract for the past 10 months. The sticking points remain pay and health insurance. Anoka-Hennepin teachers last voted to strike in 2002, but their contract was settled before a walkout. The spring high school sports teams are excited to get back in action, but they may have to wait a little while.
That's because Mother Nature is causing a delay in games. Reporter Sonia Goins shows us how the Rogers High School teams are making adjustments.
You know, there's a little brown here, a little brown there, and then there's a 6-foot drift still out there, you know, so.
It's hard to play ball when the fields look like this.
There's not a whole lot we can do outside. We've tried to get out there already, and it's just not going too hot.
Instead of running around the diamond, the Royals baseball team is playing inside the school gym.
Full-scale baseball activities is pretty much impossible.
The gym is in high demand. There are at least 4 other teams that use the space, including the girls' softball team.
So now when you get 4 teams in between 2:30 and 9 o'clock at night, everything gets cut down. And it'd be one thing if it was just your varsity, you know, but you've got varsity, you've got JV, you've got 9th grade, it's a lot of bodies.
The outdoor track team will also have to wait to get out of the starting blocks.
We've been utilizing the weight room a lot, utilizing the wrestling room and the gym.
Earlier in the week, the team decided to take matters into their own hands.
We told the kids, let's all bring our shovels to practice and get the track cleared off as much as we can.
Their hard work paid off.
We made some progress. We got lane 1 cleared all the way around and a little bit of the straightaway, so hopefully we'll be able to get out there and let the sun do some of the work for us too.
The tennis team is also in limbo. No rackets, just running the stairs. And the boys' golf team is swinging on a blue wrestling mat instead of playing on the greens. The girls' golf team is screaming 4, as in forget about the first tournament.
No, it's already been postponed.
Meanwhile, the team is finding other places to swing their clubs.
So far, we've gone to the Golf Dome a couple of times and to a place called Chip and Putt.
From the looks of things, it's going to be a while before any of the teams are actually playing outdoors. There's about 10 to 18 inches of frost underground, and it could take a couple of weeks before it all melts. In Rogers, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
And Sonia tells us other schools are facing the same problems. Some of the Osseo School District teams use the Maple Grove Dome, while the Wayzata High School teams have been holding practice in the school gym and at the Central Middle School Dome. You have to feel for them.
Everybody's making do right now.
That's what you got to do. Yep. Coming up, a Champlin Park Standout student's mission to improve religious tolerance.
Then later in sports, John Jacobson pays a visit to the Northwest Sports Show.
But first, muddling our way through March. But there is a bright side. Saturday and Sunday will be much warmer. The objective of many high school students is to earn good grades, participate in extracurricular activities, and get into a good college.
And today's standout student from Champlin Park wants to add one more thing to that list: improve religious tolerance for Muslims. As Delane Cleveland reports, she's using her love of filmmaking to make that happen.
Would you take out your assignment, check with your group, see if you can help each other out?
Annalise Lamberty is what you would call a well-rounded student.
Magnitude, angle.
Calculus may not be her best subject, but during her 4 years at Champlin Park,
not just at Champlin Park, but like in the community, what was your favorite interview that you?
She's participated in orchestra and become captain of the speech and debate team.
She's a journalist at Twin Cities Daily Planet. She's so smart.
I mean, the literal definition would be a fear of Islam, but I think it's more than that.
That involvement in speech and debate fostered a love for activism, which she's displaying in the form of a documentary film.
Back in 10th grade, I was an intern on Representative Keith Ellison's re-election campaign, and he's a Muslim, and I think and he faces a lot of backlash from being a Muslim in America's political world, and I think that's really messed up.
So she decided to use her love of film to take action.
I think a lot of people are hateful.
There's this assumption that if you're Muslim, you're foreign. You know, you're an other, you're different. You get called a terrorist.
Over the past year, Annalise interviewed students, journalists, and Islamic leaders to create a movie that highlights the Muslim experience in America.
Combining something that affects people I know with something that people could stand to learn a lot more about is pretty much the reason why I chose Islamophobia instead of highlighting a different issue.
Do you have, does Annalise have a way forward?
Her speech coach and advisor had nothing but praise for her work.
In order for long-lasting change to occur, Annalise is targeting the right audience, which is folks that are going to be the future. And so I feel very much that the future is in good hands.
Meanwhile, it's the future of Islamic relations in America that's on Annalise's mind.
I'm not a Muslim. I didn't grow up around Muslim people except for going into high school. So I learned a lot about the religion itself.
She hopes her film will get that message across to others.
My biggest goal is to tell different stories of different people who exist in real life but never have their stories told.
For Standout student Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Her film premieres at Champlin Park High School on Wednesday, April 2nd at 7 p.m. All tickets are $3, and the proceeds benefit the Council on American Islamic Relations. Coming up, a prom experience that will be hard to beat thanks to a Maple Grove store.
But first, in sports, why the Osseo softball team feels it's ready to take on all comers this spring. John Jacobson is up next.
A lot of folks can't wait to go fishing, but take a look outside. You might want to go inside and take a look at fishing stuff.
I think people just want to get outside and look at something that looks like summer, and that's what we found today. The Northwest Sports Show got underway Wednesday at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Earlier today, I caught up with pro angler Terry Tillman. I asked him about this year's show and the return of spring.
Hopefully spring is just almost here or right around the corner. That really gets anglers and participants ready to come to the show and look at boats and fishing equipment and whatever else that ties in with the outdoors.
The long winter we had, what effect did that have on both ice fishing and the cold winter and all the snow, and what effect might it have on the open water season here?
I think it was really a big plus factor for ice fishing. A lot of participants, a lot of people involved in ice fishing, a lot of newcomers, and we've seen all over the whole state. It was very good. Also in Wisconsin, some of those states. So ice fishing really was a boomer year for business-wise and for people catching fish too. Is it going to have an effect on spring business? I really don't know, John. It depends on what happens with spring. As far as the fishing in general, I think it's going to be just fine. As far as sales and so forth, boat sales, for instance, for the Lumbercraft are up. So that's also a sure sign that people are interested. They're going to be buying boats, and rod and reels and tackle is going to be strong. I'm sure that.
This isn't only a big weekend for boat dealers and tackle and equipment, but we always see a lot of vacation destination and people looking to get away at cabins or resorts or fly-in weekends and things like that. How important is that for those people from northern Minnesota and Wisconsin and Canada even that are here?
It's very important. In fact, you'll see a lot of information being gathered, but there's also a lot of booking, John, that are done here. You're also going to see
camping, retailers here. Hunting resorts are here. And a lot of these houseboating, a lot of these resorters and vendors do book right at the show. In fact, quite a little bit. In fact, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if there'll be some people, for instance, from Lake of the Woods, booking ice fishing trips for next winter already.
I don't want to hear about ice fishing next winter. The show runs until 9 o'clock tonight and Friday. Hours Saturday are 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sunday, the hours are 10 to 5. Cost is $11 for adults. Children 15 and younger are free. Local softball teams are hoping better days are ahead when it comes to the weather. As Jay Wilcox reports, the Osseo Orioles are ready to make a move up the ladder in the Northwest Suburban Conference.
They're cautiously optimistic in the Osseo softball program this spring. The Orioles were in the middle of the pack in the Northwest Suburban last season, finishing at just over the 500 mark. They like the way things are looking in the early workouts.
Oh, I think it looks encouraging. It's really hard to tell indoors, like I always say every spring. But of this team, we bring back a lot of kids that bring some experience to the game. They played a lot of ball in their careers. Some varsity returning kids, and it looks really good.
I think we have a lot of potential. We definitely have a younger team, but I think if we come out strong and improve skills or need to improve, we'll be a tough competitor this year.
There's strength at the key positions up the middle returning for Osseo. Pitcher Courtney Calkins and catcher Ashley Siss form a good battery, and that's a huge thing in fast pitch.
Oh yeah, definitely. Returning your battery is a big difference. Makes a big difference in the team, and it's what everyone kind of rallies around. And if you have a pitcher that's consistent, we all know what she's capable of doing, and I think it makes your defensive job much easier.
All teams are hoping to peak at playoff time, and for Osseo, that's an especially key goal this season after losing out early the past couple of postseasons.
We definitely want to make it a little further in sections this year than we have in the past. I think our goal is just getting past the first round of sections. We haven't done that in a while, so just getting that far would be a big accomplishment, and anything farther than that, that's just even better.
They play in a competitive conference, but Osseo is ready to battle with anyone they face. Jay Wilcox, 12 Sports.
Here's a familiar theme from last spring cropping up already. Osseo has moved its first 2 games back. They're now slated to open April 14th at home against Coon Rapids. So a lot of those first week and early second week in April games already being moved back. We can see there's not going to be enough melting and things like that.
Next couple days, right?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, John. Still ahead, one couple's prom just got a lot less expensive.
Prom proposal that led to a big prize in Maple Grove when we come back. If you're the parent of a high school student, you know what season this is.
That's right, it is prom season, of course. And going to prom can get expensive, costing upwards of $1,500 per couple. But as Shannon Slatton reports, a Maple Grove store will pick up the tab for one special couple.
Okay, that's the best it's gonna get.
For Rebecca Dommel, a date with her boyfriend of almost 3 years is here over the computer. Juan Suarez is at the U.S. Naval Academy.
It's different because we used to walk to class all the time together, but now we can't really do that.
But for Valentine's Day,
There's some lovely tissue paper used here.
Rebecca decided to record opening up their gifts.
We never really had any videos like with each other, and so like, hey, you know, for Valentine's Day, why don't we just like videotape some stuff?
What she didn't know was inside the box, Juan had a special note.
A picture?
Yeah. That asked her to go to prom.
I really wanted to do something special for her senior prom.
Juan is home on spring break now, but he got leave granted to come back to take his girlfriend to prom.
Leave is really hard to obtain where he is, but we had hopes.
It was such a good proposal story that Rebecca entered it in a contest to have prom expenses paid through the new store, Glitz, in the shops at Arbor Lakes.
What they did was they submitted on Facebook, onto our Facebook page, and then they just had friends and family and random strangers like their post on Facebook.
Rebecca and Juan's story won prizes topping $1,000. A dress, tux, jewelry, free hair and makeup, flowers, a photo session, and dinner.
It's just been such a neat experience, and it's kind of like as you're like making the appointments and getting everything ready, you're like, wow, this is so much stuff.
Oh, I was elated, you know, just ecstatic about everything.
Prizes that are sure to make this prom unforgettable. In Maple Grove, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
And I love this. They won a free tux rental, but since Juan's going to wear his military uniform, Rebecca plans to give it to her grandfather, who will use it for this summer for his 90th birthday.
Cool.
So, great. That does it for us.
We'll see you tomorrow.